Okay, welcome to the class. Please start your presentation. This is EPPE2053, Malaysia's economy. So please, today we're gonna discuss about Malaysia's international economic relations. We have two types. Trade agreements, they are binding. Another one is economic cooperation. They are not binding, voluntary. So please go ahead, your presentation. Tanusia. Yeah.
Tanusha.
Okay.
Good afternoon to Dr. and my fellow friends. Today I would like to discuss about Malaysia's involvement and regional grouping and bilateral trade agreements. So as we can see, regional groups means groupings of members in a particular state or territory based around a particular electoral area. In more detail, regional economic groups, or it can be called regional groupings, are the association of countries situated in particular region whereby they came to a common understanding regarding rules and regulations to be followed while exporting and importing goods. Such groups have liberal rules for members countries, while a separate set of rules is laid for non-members. One of the partners of regional grouping is Japan. Through ASEAN, which is called as Association of Southeast Asian Nations, Japan Comprehensive Economic Partnership. The main scope between Malaysia and Japan of these regional groupings: goods, services, investment, liberalization by 2012, facilitations, economic and technical cooperation. And as we can see, the benefits of the regional groupings is Japan is the second largest partner of ASEAN. Japan with the GDP, which is gross domestic product per capita of ringgit Malaysia 106,400, continues to be an important market for ASEAN and Malaysia. Move to next slide. As we can see in this table, it's a Malaysian manufacturing sector which is approved project by major countries. The countries which is involved is Switzerland, Singapore, US, China, Japan, South Korea and Hong Kong. Now I like to highlight it on Japan. As you can see, in 2019, the number of projects has been approved among Japan and Malaysia is 53 projects with foreign investment of 3,792.2 million. And as you can see, in 2020, the number of projects being approved between Japan and Malaysia is 15. In the period time of 3 months, which is from January to March. From April onwards, the whole world and the countries has been faced in COVID pandemic. Move to the next slide. Bilateral trade agreements. Bilateral trade agreements are agreements between countries to promote trade and commerce. A bilateral agreement, also called a clearing trade or side deal, refers to an agreement between parties or states that aim to keep trade deficits to a minimum. It varies depending on the type of agreement, scope, and the countries that are involved in the agreement. As we know, the Malaysia has 7 free trade agreement, which is FTD, with following countries, which is Australia, Thai, India, Japan, New Zealand, Pakistan, and Turkey. One of the main scope of bilateral trade agreement is trade in goods, agriculture, services, and investment with flexibility for sensitive sectors. For an example, agriculture, commodities, education, human resources development, ICT, tourism, and so on. For the agreement, the benefit will be the position as attractive destination for FDI. Secondly, growth for high sectors such as high-tech industries, including biotechnology services, including manufacturing related services, and ICT and multimedia. Thirdly, economic and technical cooperation for quality enhancement, vendor developments, inclusion of Malaysia SMEs into manufacturing supply chain of Japanese multinational company. Now, as you can see in this table, it is import activities which is between Malaysia and Japan. So this table shows the import activities between the year of 2001 and 2007. So I mainly focus on Japan, and this will be the export table for the year of 2001 until 2007. As you can see here, this is the graph of Malaysia export to Japan and Malaysia's import from Japan. So this is the graph from the year of 1998 until 2007. So we are mainly focusing on 2006 and 2007. As you can see here, in 2006, Malaysia's export to Japan is dramatically increased in 2007, and as you can see in Malaysia's import from Japan, it has drastically increased from 2006 to 2007. Now I move to prospect of Malaysia economy next year, next 5 years, and next 10 years. Prospect of Malaysia for next years. Malaysia is well supported for a sure economic path, and its economy is expected to expand 6.5% year on year in 2022 and 5% in 2023. According to Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, which is a well-known bank in Japan, and it's said by Economics Rito 8. During the SMBC's in 2020 Global Economic Outlook webinar on AIDS said that the ease restrictions on domestic activities as well as trade improvement contributed to the Malaysia economics return to pre-pandemic levels in the first quarter of 2022 and are expected to continue accelerating its recovery. Notably, AIDS forecast of the economic growth is higher than the range Bank Negara Malaysia has projected for the economy. The central bank in March announced its official economic growth forecast for 2022 to come between 5.3% and 6.3%. He also noted that primary driver of Malaysia's economy continues to be external demand, has highlighted that the nation's trade surplus has been an upward trend, which is expected to continue on the back of higher commodity prices. Additionally, I've also noted that Malaysia's terms trade, which is TOT, the ratio of export price over import price, has improved and will also be a main driver of the country's economic recovery in the coming quarters. Now, if we move to prospect of Malaysia next 5 years. So the government's pledge to halt a new level coal power plant signal a greater commitment and focus in addressing environmental issues more effectively. The 5-year plan also aims to raise the average household income to 10,065 Malaysia ringgit per month from the current estimate about 7,089 ringgit. Analysts are particularly skeptical of the target, calling it ambitious as the increase between 2016 and 2020 was less than 2,000 ringgit. A new 5-year economic blueprint that set ambitious target to raise household income, rein in carbon pollution and develop high-tech industries in the country's latest bid to become a developed nation by 2025. The 12th Malaysia Plan, the first major policy introduced by Ismail administration, projected an average 4.5 to 5.5% annual rise in gross domestic product, which is GDP, over the next 5 years, which expert describes a sensible after a country posted an average yearly growth of 2.7% from 2016 to 2022, about half its initial target of 5 to 6% under the previous plan. Now, if we move to prospect of Malaysia next 10 years, Malaysia is likely to transition to a high-income economy between 2024 and 2028, a reflection of the country's economic transformation development trajectory over past decades. According to a new World Bank report, Aiming High, Navigating the Next Stage of Malaysia's Development, launched today. Progress towards the threshold has been slowed by the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, and the country has the opportunity to undertake bold reforms to sustain future growth and to ensure that the proceeds of growth benefit all segments of the population. The Malaysian government is committed to continually access the quality, inclusivity, and sustainability of Malaysia's growth. And lastly, have built good foundation, but we also recognize that need to invest more in developing high quality human capital to facilitate greater economic opportunities, and the next generation reforms the higher productivity as well as innovation-led private sector growth and policies. So, end of my presentation.
Thank you. Number things that you must pay attention to.
Yeah.
I know that you get the information from published items like news, website. I noticed that slide. Prospect in the next 5 years. You just copy it and without changing a thing. The words that you copied just now, Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob on Monday unwrapped the Malaysia plan or whatever. It was on Monday. That was from the newspaper. At least you change the date. Prime Minister on February 28, 2021. You give the date, meaning you have to put just a little bit more effort.
Okay.
Not to show that. Number one, it is the habit that you must have from today you're in university until that you will be useful until you work in the real sector. You must pay attention to dates. For me, that's very important. You have to find the date. Rancangan Malaysia ke-12 dilancarkan pada very important because dates are important. It's not that we must remember the date. We want to put things in perspective. For example, dasar wawasan kemakmuran bersama. By we pay attention to the date, we know wawasan kemakmuran bersama was launched before Rancangan Malaysia ke-12. We want to see perspective. We don't have to hafal date. Okay. Okay. I wrote in the telegram about my expectations because I wanna explain to you a little bit. When we talk about economic integration, there are two things involved here, or two types. There are number one, which is free trade agreements. The first type is FTAs. Yes, free trade agreements. These are binding. Binding by law because you sign an agreement. Binding. Mengikat. terikat by law when you sign something. Because it's free trade agreement. These FTAs, two types. Okay, two types. Regional, which is ASEAN, AFTA, ASEAN Free Trade Area. Regional. Other type is individual, which we call bilateral. So let me repeat. There are two types. FTAs binding. Another one I didn't yet mention. FTAs binding. The other one non-binding, which is economic cooperation. Okay, let me repeat. International economic relations of our country. There are two types. The binding one, FTAs, which will be divided into two. Okay, the first one, FTAs, binding. The second one, non-binding, which is economic cooperation. Okay, let's take the first one, the binding FTAs. First one. There are two types also. Regional and bilateral. What is bi? Bi is two. Regional is many countries. Bilateral, two countries, Malaysia and Pakistan, Malaysia and USA, Malaysia and Japan. Bilateral, bi. Two types. Okay, that's the first one, which is binding one. Second one, non-binding, economic cooperation. What is non-binding? Voluntary. The famous one is EPPE, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. So the best source for this, all this is a MITI report. So I uploaded MITI report already in our. You can follow. However, I'm gonna show you now the MITI report, the latest one, which is 2020. I'm opening my file. MITI report 2020. Tell me that you can see this before I start. Can you see the slide, the MITI report I'm showing you? Can you? I want to know.
Can anyone?
Okay, this is the latest one. MITI is a Ministry of International Trade and Industry. So yeah. This annual. Published October 2021. So this is the table of content, industrial and services. Okay, the thing is now, in the past, 10 years ago or something like that, the MITI report only covered the industrial. But for the past, I think 4 or 5 years, maybe less. Maybe 4 years, for the past 4 years, not only manufacturing, which is industry, also services is included into the MITI report. Meaning that MITI takes care of both the manufacturing and services that deals with the manufacturing, not government services. Okay. Like this, manufacturing. All this manufacturing, automotive, chemical industry, iron, and this to give you the big picture, gambaran, textile, and then cross-cutting ecosystem, skill, talents, ethical, and the service sector, investment. We're talking about here not government services, We're talking about investment, trade, revenue, employment, wholesale and retail, yes. Food, beverages, information, ICT services, health, arts, entertainment, professional and real estate as well, not government services. Why I'm repeating government services? In the GDP calculation, national accounts, GDP, yes, government services included, but in media report, no, not included. We're talking about the services which are tradable, yes, tradable services. Government services is not tradable. You don't sell really. You work as a the government department. It's not a tradable thing. Yeah. You cannot export that. Roughly speaking, service sector blueprint, future growth, digitalization, data center, gaming, and so on. Gaming industry is a new. It's gonna be, new growth industry because gaming is a big, companies make money from gaming. This is the new thing today. In this ICT era today. I'll look to them. Okay, that's chapter number 1. We're just going over trade performance, free trade agreements. What has been implemented? I forgot to mention the latest is RCEP because Malaysia was dealing with trying to. There was TPPA, Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. What is trans-Pacific? Across the Pacific, meaning that United States, if you on the west coast of United States, in California, you are on the Pacific. So when we talk about trans-Pacific, it means that including USA, because USA is bordering with the Pacific Ocean. So if you fly from Los Angeles, also Canada, you fly western shore of Canada, which is Vancouver or United States, Los Angeles, you fly, you can go to Japan across the Pacific Ocean. That's what they call it, Trans-Pacific, which the grouping includes United States, including Malaysia, Japan, Korea, and so on. And that one, TTPA, did not materialize. Beginning with how did it happen? President Trump, when he became president of the United States, he took United States out from TPPA, which was at that time just waiting for ratification. Okay, this is the thing. When there is agreement, international agreement, that's subjected to ratification by each country's parliament or Congress, United States Congress, Malaysia Parliament. So Malaysia was debating and in the parliament still at the time whether Malaysia should join TPPA, but most likely at the time Malaysia wanted to join TPPA because joining a big group for a small open economy like Malaysia, it is a good thing. Malaysia don't want to be excluded from gathering of countries when it comes to trade, because Malaysia, a small open economy, what does it mean? It means very dependent on export and import, international trade, very dependent on external sector, which is export and import, international trade. So for Malaysia, it's good to be in, not to be out. But suddenly came Donald Trump. He took out United States from TPPA, Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. So that's how TPPA never materialized. Dead, mati. So that happened during the time of rival persaingan between United States of America and China. For the US, China is another superpower challenging, mencabar United States. So with Biden came in as new president, and then last month when he visited Korea, he was touting again, proposing again the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Why Indo? That will include India, Indo-Pacific, India, Korea, Japan, no China. India, Japan, Korea, no China, and a few other countries like you have to look at the list. This is new thing. And then, New Zealand, Australia, and Singapore, and other things. Malaysia not. We have to check. Sorry, I have to check because it's so new. So Biden is proposing the Indo-Pacific, again Pacific because include United States, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework without China, of course, to stop China. Because now USA and China is kind of competing for dominance of the world. China already, for your information, China already in Africa. Development of infrastructure in Africa. Even one country, I forgot which country, Uganda. The stadium in Uganda belongs to China, and when Uganda cannot pay back the loan, the stadium became China became the owner of that stadium. And so here it is, China with, have you heard about the China program of One Belt, One Road initiative? One Belt, which is to connect the road from China all the way to Europe, to West Asia. That's under One Belt, One Road initiative. The road, of course, will be built by China, and China already in Africa, I mentioned. And why China has become a factory of the world, exporters of many products in the world, has become the number 2 in terms of size economy in the world. Number 1 is United States, the size of the economy. Number 2, China. Number 3, Germany. Number 4, Japan. See, this is the size of the economy is a power. If your size is big, you have the power. That's worrying for United States. It's a challenge. Who's going to be dominant in the world? That's why Biden started this Indo-Pacific initiative without China. While at the same time, I mentioned earlier the TPPA, which is dead. That was replaced. Malaysia is a member, replaced by RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. RCEP. Okay, RCEP. Just remember RCEP. 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 Malaysia a member. RCEP already in March this year already took effect. The agreement, free trade agreements in the countries of RCEP took effect in March Malaysia. So no TPPA debt, RCEP is on, while RCEP is on. There is a China inside, and United States does not like China. I mean, it's a threat. It's a threat. Ancaman for United States dominance. So that's why Biden is proposing the Indo-Pacific economic framework. So these are the things that you also in your presentation should be discussing. So that demands a lot of following of news happenings today for this topic. So okay, let's go. Let's see what has been written in the MITI report. This current trade practices agreements. What are implemented? Comprehensive progressive agreement, Trans-Pacific Partnership, Malaysia, India, ongoing negotiation. Yes, these are the things that you need to follow. What is ongoing in negotiation? Measure the trade remedies. Remember? Two types. Binding FTAs, non-binding economic cooperation. We're gonna see down there. Involvement in one meeting. Don't forget to mention Malaysia is a founding member of WTO, World Trade Organization. That the one that replaced GATT. You must know all this. GATT, before WTO there was GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, to reduce tariff. You know what happened? Let me go a little bit. Okay, let's go down before this. I'm not sure I cover things. Here, current trade practices measures related to trade remedies, reviewing non-tariff measures. If you take international economics, I'm teaching that class. When we talk about trade barriers, there are two types of trade barriers: tariff, non-tariff. Tariff, import tariffs. Products coming, you have to pay tariff. Non-tariff barriers are these are the things which are problematic today. Tariffs which are not barriers which are not tariff, like making a connection between opening easy access to a market with non-tariff things, non-trade things, like to connect that with human rights, to connect with labor standards, to connect with environmental protection. For example, Europe has been campaigning against Malaysia's palm oil. Europe claims palm oil is bad for health. Europe claims that palm oil plantation has taken away place for orang utan to live. The Europe claimed that because of palm oil, no more orang utan. Orang utan are extinct. Pupus di Malaysia. So these are the claim by European countries. Claim on what? Health. Not healthy palm oil. Number 2, orang utan, pupus. Number 3, environmental degradation. You know, because of palm oil, no more trees, no more. They claim all this. This is one of the example to make connect, and as a result, European countries, EU, put high tariffs, or even stop palm oil from Malaysia to come in. This is example of non-tariff barrier. You understand now? Barrier. You put barrier from products to come into your country That barrier is based on not tariff related, not trade related, but other things. Health, the environment, orang hutan. In this case, non-tariff things, non-trade things. You, this country take, guna alasan bukan perdagangan untuk stop product to come in. So we call it non-tariff barrier because tariff is clear. The other one, tariff is clear. Your product come into this country, to our country, subjected to 10% or 5% tariff. That's clear. This thing, you take other things and you use it to put tariff, put high tariff on palm oil, or you even stop. Europe even stop the palm oil to come in. So non-tariff barriers, non-tariff measures. So other involvement. World Economic Forum, World Economic Forum last month or earlier this month. Every year Malaysia, joins Commonwealth Connectivity Agenda. Okay, now initiative bilaterals, meeting, webinars, joint trade committee engagement. Okay, ASEAN. So ASEAN, we have AFTA. Multilateral trade negotiation. When I talk about WTO, before WTO, yes, Malaysia was founding member of WTO. 1995, easy to remember. WTO, January 1, 1995. As a new institution that deals with trade as a institution that supervises world trade in both things, products and services. Why I mentioned that? Because before WTO there was GATT. Only dealt with products only. Services not included. WTO, products and services. Trade policy review body, palm oil issue. Malaysia hosting yes. Now APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. This is one of the example of non-binding. The second type, which is what is non-binding? Economic cooperation. It's not FTAs. When we talk about APEC, no agreement. You don't sign any agreement because it's not bilateral or regional agreements. It is voluntary cooperation. So COVID-19 APEC business outlook. Okay, investment performance. Okay. The chapter 4, digital economy. This is the new thing. Also under MITI purview. Digital economy, e-commerce. MITI report long time ago. Nothing like this. This is the new era of digital era. Automotive and robotic sector. Okay, so let's go. Make it smaller and I can go fast. Yeah. Let's view this. Again, Malaysia, an open and dynamic economy. Okay, let's go. These are trade value, service sector, export. Bila 1983, import, trade surplus. Numbers doesn't make sense unless we compare with previous or with other countries. Again with similar countries. So But same, yeah. Manufacturing sector is now 22.9% of GDP of Malaysia. That was down from the peak, boom boom, peak boom boom, 2005, 33%. It was 30. It was Malaysia's manufacturing contribution is like a boom boom, a house coming up from bottom house and top peaking at 33% in 2005 and go down. It's like a V terbalik, boom boom. 33 now, 22.9, 23% above that. Total export, I think you should know this. Only this number you should know. The numbers doesn't make sense unless you compare with something. Investment approved, domestic contribution. Oh, service sector. This is manufacturing sector. The approved investment. Okay, investment, service sector, trade. Top 5 investment, real estate, utilities, support services, communication, distributive trade. What is distributive trade? Wholesale and retail. Okay. Top 5 partners. China is number 1 trading partner of Malaysia. Used to be United States and Singapore. And today, there was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, United States and Singapore. And then Singapore and China. And then China, Singapore second. You must remember, I'm repeating from my previous class. It's not that Singapore people use Malaysian product. No, it's just Malaysian's product going through melalui ports of Singapore, because Port Singapore are more connection globally. So again, not that product of Malaysia landed and stopped there in Singapore. No, just melalui, just going through melalui. Top 5 exporting. Again, China, Singapore, melalui only United States, Hong Kong, Japan. Okay. Importing partners. Singapore, USA, Japan, Taiwan. You must know why. Singapore, I know. We know already. Melalui only. United States, why? Importing partners. Components for electronics products assembled in Malaysia. Components come from United States and come from Japan, come from Taiwan, and also from Korea. If we see here, ASEAN trade partners. Three agreements. Malaysia has signed. Look at this. Natusha, yeah. 16 FTAs. Again, two types. Bilateral and regional. Okay. Remember when I mentioned two types? We have first type, binding, which is FTAs, non-binding cooperation. On each, we will have two types again. The first one, binding, FTAs, two types, bilateral and regional. We have 7 bilaterals, including the one we mentioned, Malaysia and China, bilateral. 2 countries only, by 2. Malaysia, Pakistan, Malaysia, China, Malaysia, USA, and 9 regional. ASEAN, Malaysia part of ASEAN. First, ada mana 9? We're gonna see. After itself, and Malaysia, Japan, ASEAN, Japan, Malaysia included. 3 FTA partners, Malaysia total trade has gone down. Top 5 partners, PRC. Okay, let's go test them now. Let's go to the topic. Our presentation today, which is the industrial and services sector. Oh, means that it's at the beginning. Okay. I'm surprised this topic does not have particular, this MITI report this year does not have particular topic specific to regional integration, unlike previous report. Let's see again. Industrial, international trade, investment, digital economy, appendix. So it does not have specific topic and nice paragraph. Graph or figure, graph box thing. Like, let me see. You go to page 46. Yeah, we start with this international trade and. Contracted in 2020 because of COVID-19. Contracted, mengucuk 3.3% in 2020. Yeah. I think, yeah. These are the trade. PRC Singapore, this already 52%. These 5 countries. Export, PRC, Singapore, USA, Hong Kong, Japan. Imports, PRC, Singapore, USA, Japan, Taiwan. ASEAN countries, of course, Singapore is number 1, and look at this, the number 142 compared with the closest is which is Thailand, only 45. Vietnam 3. Laos. Laos. Suddenly, look at this. This is perhaps happened this year, 2020 only. Look at this. To Laos, 67% up increase. Even became higher than Thailand. Perhaps I can bet it is on that year only, because it's Thailand is a bigger partner actually for Malaysia within ASEAN. Of course, Singapore is number 1 if you talk about ASEAN. Okay, we say ASEAN. The 10 countries ASEAN. Negara Asia, we call it Asian. This is ASEAN. 10 countries. So that's how the difference. ASEAN. Imports. These are the implemented. That's why the best source for you, Tanusha, is that from this MITI report. At December 2020, end of 2020, Malaysia has signed 16 FTAs, 7 bilateral. Remaining 9 are regional. 7 bilateral, 9 regional. All the 7 bilateral with 7 bilateral. Individual with individual. With Australia, Chile. Chile has been long time ago. India, Japan has been long time ago. New Zealand, Pakistan, Turkey. These are the 7 bilateral: Australia, Chile, India, Japan, New Zealand, Pakistan, Turkey, and into force. Malaysia through ASEAN, now regional. It's now bilateral, now regional. Through ASEAN, signatory of FTAs with Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, SR. Why Hong Kong SR? After the British transfer Hong Kong back to China, a British colony at that time, 1990 was transferred back. 1997 transferred back to China. You know, leading up to the transfer back of. This is for your information only, not exam. So many people from Hong Kong emigrated away from Hong Kong. Fear what happened to them when Hong Kong given back to China. So, at that time, before 1997, so many people from Hong Kong emigrated to Australia, to United States, to Canada, because of fear. The rest is history. And India, and also this Indonesia, the Comprehensive Progressive Agreement, Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, PTPTA, PTPTA. There's a loan, PPPA. Even there's no more mention here. TPPA. It is mentioned here. Progressive Agreement on Trans-Pacific Partnership and RCEP have been signed but yet to be ratified. But for Malaysia, RCEP is already in force. RCEP March this year, March 2022, RCEP took into force. RCEP. But this one CPTPP, no, not yet. RCEP. Yet to be ratified. That was the report in 2020. So of course you have to check whether it has been ratified or not. As far as RCEP is concerned, it's already into force March this year. Because you must remember this book was prepared December 2021. The report, MITI report 2020. But the date published, publication, the date published, December 2021. Today is June 2022. About 6 months ago. So trade with partners, DA's partner. Major exports are E&D, electrical and electronic products. So this is a bilateral. Okay, bye. Oh, nice. Yes. Among the things that I wanted to comment during your presentation, it's good to add in your presentation the year. Sorry. The year that the FTA was signed or into force. Which one is earlier? Okay, here. 2000 with Japan, 2006, and second with Pakistan, 2008. New Zealand, 2010. Okay, this way. Wrong clock. Japan, Pakistan, New Zealand, India, Chile. After that, Australia, and the latest is Turkey, 2015. That's bilateral. Regional. Look at this. After 1993. Signed. As far as I remember, 2002 becoming into force 2002. 1993 was signed, completed, the negotiation and signed. Yeah, let me go on a little bit for your information on AFTA. ASEAN Free Trade Agreements that took effect in 2002. Check the year, if I'm not wrong, but that's not the issue. That's not the point. The point is 0 until 5%. Let me repeat. With AFTA, it saw the cutting down on the level of tariffs. Cut down, reduce the tariffs from whatever the country has to many products among ASEAN countries. Many products, okay, among ASEAN countries having 0 tariffs. What does it mean? You import from Thailand, you don't have to pay tariffs. Import from Singapore, import from Laos, or all other countries in ASEAN, 0% you pay tariff. Go back to what I say. 0, between 0 and 5%. Most of the products are 0, but there are other products which are between 0 and 5. Max is 5, maximum. So in AFTA, we have tariffs among countries of ASEAN. Many of them no tariffs because of this free trade agreement. No tariffs, but there are products which usually are important to the country that have tariffs between 0 and 5%. The most is 5%. Except there are other things that was discussed during few years back, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, sensitive sectors for each country. Each country would have sensitive sectors. For Malaysia, automobile considered sensitive sector because Malaysia has its own car produced in Malaysia. So, and they give time. So you must check when is that time expired for having tariffs. However, when we talk about automobile tariff, yes, the tariff level has reduced, but that's import tariff. There's another one. Excise duty, excise tax. What is the difference between import tariff and excise? Import tariff is simple. You import a product, you pay tariff. But excise is the tax on the use, the tax on the purchase. So when you buy a car, you don't actually pay one tariff only. You buy a Honda, not only import tariff, you also pay excise tax. When you buy a Honda, when you buy a Proton, locally manufactured in Malaysia, you don't pay import tariff, but you pay excise tariff, tax. You buy a imported car, tariff and excise. Yes. Why is that? The import tariff has been low because Malaysia is also a member of WTO, subjected to tariff reductions of WTO, and also subjected to tariff reduction within AFTA. So import tariffs for car has gone down, but still a way of protection from import competition. Many governments, not only Malaysia, not only having import tariff, but also excise. Let me repeat that. Two things different: import tariff and excise tax. These are very high in Malaysia as well. So it's like you buy a car, maybe that Honda, you pay, for example, 80,000 for Honda City, maybe 70,000. Let's say 70 for Honda City. From that 70, the cost is only maybe 30 only cost, or 40. This is a rough talking, okay? Don't quote on me. 70,000 Honda City. Maybe 30 only. The real cost. 40 you pay tax. That 40,000. The import tax maybe the 40,000, okay? The tax. Import tax maybe from 40,000. Import tax maybe 10,000 only import tax. But 30,000 excise tax. Very high. That's after PRC China, Korea, Japan, 2009, India, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong as well. These are the regional FTAs which through melalui ASEAN. As far as Malaysia is a member of ASEAN, including with after 10 countries. Okay, agreements. We skip that one. Now, comprehensive agreement of Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is 11 countries: Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, Vietnam, as well as Malaysia signed the CTTP in Santiago, Chile. This Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, Vietnam, no USA, no China. Number one, you say during the first one, before CPTPP, there was TPPA. Let me repeat. TPPA. T Terengganu. No, Terengganu. T Trans. Don't mention the wrong thing. Like you phone up, you call somebody, you repeat. Okay. A Argentina. No. We're talking about T Trans. P Pacific. P Partnership Agreement. TPPA. Dead. Sudah mati. So menggantikan itu adalah C. Mati. Why? Already mentioned. Trump took out United States. So no United States here. Under this new thing, CTPPA. No more TPPA. No USA. And no China as well. Signing text on which began to turn, this TPPA. Yes, same thing. When I mention A, TPPA, same thing. Evolve and evolve to current. No more TPPA or TPP. No more. Become CPTPP. And because of United States withdrew, take out by Donald Trump. And 31st, 30 December 2018, 6 countries: Australia, Canada, Japan, Singapore, and 14 for Vietnam. Not the same date, okay? And continues the world largest regional free trade and investment agreements encompassing all these people. 15% of global trade, to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers as well. Matters in. Okay. When I read this, in the WTO, not only trade in product and services. This is the difference between the WTO and before that. GATT. GATT. What happened? After the end of World War II, 1945, okay, 1945, the world needed a system, international economic system that deals with trade and investment and economic development. So before the end of World War II, still, and 1945, we're talking here about 1943, 1944, already the superpowers, United States, UK, all these superpowers met in New Hampshire, Bretton Woods. The name of the town, Bretton Woods, in the state of New Hampshire, United States of America. They met, presenting. United States was a treasurer. I forgot the name. But for the UK, John Maynard Keynes. You know, you study macroeconomics, Keynesian economics. You know, Keynes, the man himself, the economic guru, John Maynard Keynes. He was representing the UK for that Bretton Woods meeting. What was the objective of the Bretton Woods meeting? To chart or to design, to plan for an international economic system. When at that time they were expecting to win the war, World War II. They already met before winning. So from that meeting in Bretton Woods came the two things, sister institution, IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Why reconstruction? To reconstruct after the war. So IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which is today known as, has become World Bank. Still IBRD still exists until today, has become a small section under World Bank. So that's the first institution that come from that. Other one, not the first. Together, it's not first and second. No, together they came out. The other one is IMF, International Monetary Fund. So what came out from the Bretton Woods meeting among these countries, including Italy, all this, not Germany, because Germany was on the other side of the war. The Bretton Woods system, okay, with two institutions, World Bank, as we know today, and IMF, which are existing until today, and also for the exchange rate system globally, they adopted a fixed exchange rate. Let me repeat: fixed exchange rate. Fixed by using US dollar as a currency, as a reserve currency. As a reserve currency. What does it mean? All the countries in the world will use US dollar as a reserve for their central banks. By setting an ounce of gold, by using gold to back up, by using gold, real gold, to back up the value in that transaction. Exchange that to be fixed. What does it mean fixed? No change. Constant, no change. That will help international trade.
Stable.
Because stable,
Stability.
stability. You know what you're getting.
Example,
For example,
Britain and
whatever.
You know
I mean,
what you're
you know what you're getting when you export. So that stability in exchange rate really help international trade. Let me repeat. Stability in international trade help. No. Stability in exchange rate facilitated international trade. Because stability fixed exchange rate. And as a result, we saw from 1950 until stopped by the oil shock first oil shock in 1973. From 1950 until 73, that was the golden years, zaman keemasan, golden years of both international trade in the world and economic growth of the world. That was the golden years, 1950 until 73. Why 73? First oil shock and no more golden years. Why golden years? Trade was good. Why trade was good? Running smoothly because fixed exchange rate. As a result of trade is good, economic growth is good. You know, because trade is engine of economic growth. Which one is first? Chicken or egg? You need chicken to have eggs, but you need eggs to have chicken. Which one? So the same thing. Which one must have? We must have first. Is it international trade or economic growth? Like chicken and egg. So the answer would be trade is the engine of economic growth. Even though economic growth, when the economy is good, trade will be good. Yeah, chicken and egg question again. But again, I hold to that opinion that good international trade will be good for the economic growth of the world. It means that trade is engine for growth. So what happened in 1973? Remember, let me go back to the Bretton Woods. There are two institutions, World Bank and IMF. World Bank deals with the long-term development projects, give loans for long-term projects to build. What is long-term? You cannot get the result today. Like you build schools, you build dams, empangan, you build roads, you build ports. All this long-term thing. Because school, for example, you build, finish the school today, complete. Can you get the result tomorrow? No, it's a long-term thing. So these are the projects by World Bank. Project that deals with development of a country, water supply, roads, bridges, paddy fields. Yes, for example, this in Malaysia, the MADA development, rice development. MADA, pengairan muda, rancangan pengairan muda di Kedah. That was developed using the loan from the World Bank. Because you don't build, you don't get it immediately. Long term. Whereas IMF is short term thing. To do what? IMF for a country to maintain stability. Stability in what? Stability in current account. when we talk about current account, the current accounts, you cannot have a big deficit in current account. What does it mean in the current account? The most important part of current account is import-export, trade. If you have trade deficit, big, huge trade deficit, your currency will have a negative impact on the currency. The other one is the fiscal, the trade deficit, and the other, what is fiscal? Government thing, government revenue compared with government expenditure. That's fiscal thing. So IMF will come in. IMF monitors, and countries will go to IMF to settle their short-term problem of instability in current account, instability of currency, and so on. These are the things about short-term things. So IMF. So let's go back. So what happened? Okay, that's the two things. Yeah, make it clear. World Bank, IMF. IMF is the one that deals with the exchange rate things. IMF, okay? Exchange rate. So one of the things that came out from Bretton Woods was fixed exchange rate. Of course, under IMF, fixed exchange rate that was instituted. That was helping because of stability, fixed exchange rate that brought stability and that helped international trade. As a result, the economy of the world went boom. So that was the golden years. We take from 50 until 73. What happened before 73? President Nixon at that time, President Nixon, in 1971, facing United States facing twin deficit, trade deficit already, fiscal deficit as well. So Nixon said at the time we could no longer back our trade deficit. That was 1971. Okay, he said, this Nixon, okay, said we United States can no longer support or back up our trade deficit with the goals that we have, because fixed exchange rate is based on backing up the goal. I forgot how much is it? 4 an ounce of gold equals 43 USD. Don't quote on me. I don't remember. That's not important, the number. But we must understand every 1 ounce of gold equals, let's say, 43 USD. It means that that's one ounce of gold. 43. Okay. Make it simple. Suppose a country has 430 billion or 430 million. I'm just making an example, okay? 430 million deficit in trade. How much gold that country must back up with? 1 ounce equals 43. This is 430 million. For $3. This is 430 million. You, how many ounce? 10,000 or 100,000 ounce? That's how it works. Meaning that Nixon said, oh, our trade deficit is so big we can no longer support or back up. What does it mean back up? If in any time a country demand that deficit to be paid the country has a claim
on
on
gold.
gold,
Similarly,
on gold from that country.
For example,
For example, you owe me
100 ringgit,
100 ringgit,
and
every 100 ringgit is 1 ounce of gold.
Pay me back.
Pay me.
I don't want your currency.
I don't want your currency.
I want gold.
I want gold.
I want gold.
I want gold. So United States say, we cannot longer, can no longer back up with the gold. That was 1973. Boom. Suddenly, 1970. That was 1971. He said that 71. Suddenly, 1973. There was oil shock. With the oil shock, the problem, inflation, and so on. Effectively, the fixed exchange rate system under the Bretton Woods finished. No more fixed exchange rate. Today, the world is countries in the world are operating under. Some are floating, some are managed floating, some are pegging. There are so many types, but mainly managed floating. No more fixed. But other countries, a few countries using the dollarization. These are mainly less developed countries in Latin America. They use dollar. I don't remember the country. Ecuador or something. Don't quote on me. Okay, there are few countries that are using dollar. What is the country uses dollar? So let me clear up for you. Do not misunderstand. What is no more is the fixed exchange rate. No more in 1973. It doesn't mean that no more IMF. IMF exists until today. Doesn't mean that no more World Bank. World Bank exists until today. So that's a long story. I have to go to explain to you relating to international economic relations, because there was fixed exchange rate, the system Bretton Woods. On the other type thing is the gap. Yes, let's go back to the gap. That's the original thing that I wanted to explain to you. When the World War II ended in 1945, the world was looking for international trading system. The one that I mentioned, Bretton Woods, was international economic and monetary system. World Bank loan for development, IMF monitoring the monetary system, exchange rate, and so on, plus the short-term loans that countries can go to IMF to solve their problem of short-term instability, because it's very important for any country. Stability, financial stability, low inflation, stability in exchange rate, and so on. These are the things with IMF. That's money to economic and monetary system. Now the other system, which is trading system, the one that I want to mention, separate, okay, monetary, economic, monetary, IMF and World Bank. Now trading system. The world was looking for a system. It was proposed a system institution called ITO, International Trade Organization, ITO. But that ITO never materialized. Didn't happen because United States did not ratify. The Congress of United States did not ratify the ITO. So by default,
an existing agreement.
It's not institution. An existing agreement
Regarding
regarding tariff and so on, called General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, by de facto became used as the world trading system at that time. So that's how get 1947, beginning 1947, 2 years after the end of World War II. 1947, through different rounds of get tariff reduction negotiation. There was a Kennedy round, Dillon round, Tokyo round, or whatever round, and the final round was Uruguay round. It was launched in Uruguay in 1986. But that Uruguay round never reached any conclusion because of the mouth wars, the clashes between, surprisingly, among the rich countries, surprisingly among the developed countries, among the developed economies, among the industrial countries, setting, okay, industrial, developed, maju, negara maju. Among them, surprisingly, what are they clashing on? Surprising. Agriculture. Oh, rupanya actually agriculture is very sensitive sector in all these developed countries of the United States and Europe, EU, because of subsidy. The states alleging that European countries, you have this common agriculture policy, CAP. European countries, at that time, this is the steps. And if you take another course, which is international economics, you must study the stages of economic integration. Before integration, there was three countries get together, and then after that, we call it this first stage. It's like you getting married. You don't get married day one. You meet someone on the street. You put tuna. Same thing. Economic integration. 2-3 countries get together. So they call it preferential arrangement. That's the first step. After that, free trade area. After that, customs union. Stage number 3. After that, economic policy integration. After that, until the last today, EU, European Union. So talking about EU, European Union today, it was the name even changes from EEC, custom union, and then EC when the economic policy and they get together on economic policy and so EC, and finally EU, and even they use their own currency, euro. So where is ASEAN? ASEAN is only at the second stage. Preferential treatment, yes. Every stage is built up upon what has been developed previously. Malaysia, after that, free trade agreement. This is ASEAN. Only stage number 2. Not even yet customs union. What is customs union? The difference between stage 2 and 3. Stage 2, which is ASEAN today. After ASEAN free trade agreement, which the difference between the stage number 3, not yet. Stage number 3, EC for European. Sorry, EEC. The difference between free trade area or agreement and customs union. With customs union, the stage number 3, customs union, already No tariff among the countries. With qualification here among ASEAN countries, yes, no tariff, zero, but you can have until 5%. What time is it? 2:16. So stage number 3, customs union, okay? Already built, already established. Among the countries, no tariff. Or 5% in the case of max, in the case of ASEAN. No tariff. Among countries, among the member countries of 10 countries. Among member. But with member, with non-members, they have custom union, okay? Stage number 3. Already advanced. X, that's we call internal tariff among the member countries. Internal, meaning that internal within the group. Within the group of 10 countries, internal, zero tariff. Or 5. In the case of ASEAN. I'm always repeating to make sure you understand. Basically, the idea is zero tariff among the countries. Among the members. We call it internal tariff within the grouping, customs union. But when it comes to external tariff, non-members like import from the States, import from Russia, import each country, this customs union, okay, they have common external tariff, meaning that already. What does it mean? It means that they impose same level of tariff to non-members. For example, products that come to ASEAN, if they come from outside of the ASEAN, after these ASEAN countries already agree among themselves, we're gonna impose same tariff level. For example, products coming from Argentina, okay? Thailand, 10%. All countries, Malaysia also 10%. Singapore also 10%. Coming from non-members. What we call it? Common external tariff. Common external tariff, which is common tariff, the same tariff to non-members. And you must remember, within the grouping, the member, no tariffs. So that's custom union. The difference between that custom union, which is the third level, compared with the second level before that, which is after now, second level. ASEAN Free Trade Agreements. Yes, the difference. No tariffs. Second level, okay. No tariff among the members, but when it comes to non-members, each country will have their own tariff. That's what ASEAN today. That second level, unequal or no common external tariff, masing-masing tarif level to non-member. That's the second level, which is free trade agreement. So ASEAN not yet custom union, not yet the third level, which we see not only same no tariff within, but same tariff outside for product coming from the members. External tariff. So after customs union, there's a next level of integration of economic policy synchronized among countries. This what happened with European Union. When it comes to agriculture policy, they use their own, known as common agriculture policy, common to the 20 plus member countries of European Union. So after that, more integration, free movement of factors among countries, labor and capital. Means that you from the UK, you can go work in Germany. In other way, if this happen in ASEAN countries, the fourth level, Malaysians can go work in the Philippines. Malaysia can go work in Singapore without restriction. Lao people can come work in Malaysia without restriction, because a free flow of factors of production, labor, and the other one also capital, yes, investment and so on. So up to that level, policy and so on, even economic integration, even monetary integration. So they have already, by the agreement, they have euro. So for ASEAN, it's a long way, because I would make a joke that if this happened to ASEAN countries, the currency in European Union, they have a euro, okay? How many euro? The name of the currency is ASEANA. The name is ASEANA. How much ASEANA? Okay. How many ASEANA for this cup of coffee? Because too long. ASEANA. Everyone is calling ASI. How many ASI? Oh, this is 10 ASI a cup. They spend 5 ASI. No more ASEANA. Too long. That's my joke. For that to happen, it's gonna be a long way. Because still at the second level, not yet. Customs union, which is third level. Why? Long way to have that currency. Huge gap differences in terms of level economic development. For example, Singapore compared with Vietnam. Singapore compared with Cambodia, with Laos. Huge gap. Can you have a same currency when there's a huge gap? So let's go back to WTO. So the last round, Uruguay round, and the disagreement was on agriculture. So they did what? KIV. Okay, we're gonna settle this problem in the next. So the final meeting of the GATT was 15 April 1993. 1994. Okay, let me say something to you. Always get negotiation. Always meet the deadline. The deadline is always 11:59 December 31st. We call it the final hour. They always never disagree, even at the final hour, which is 11:59 December 31st. Always the 11th hour. So finally, okay, during the clashes among these rich countries, Dr. Mahathir at that time proposed EAEG, East Asian Economic Grouping, for the East Asian countries would have a strong one voice when negotiating with this rich country. So that the state became angry, because this is like a block. So the EAEG grouping was watered down to become EAEC. That was proposed by Dr. Mahathir, and the EAEC, Suharto at the time did not support, because Dr. Mahathir did not consult the eldest man in this region at the time, was Suharto. He passed away already. So as a result, EAEC, East Asian Economic Caucus, changed from group strong, changed the name to water down to caucus. did not even materialize. So through the successive meetings of ASEAN plus 3, okay, plus 3, which is China, Korea and Japan, plus New Zealand, Australia, yeah, they got together almost like what EAEC caucus has materialized into East Asian grouping, but there was sign, but in reality there are so many things. Doesn't mean that, well, let me take back. It was it's not really signed. It's like a, you know, at the end of ASEAN meeting you have this what I call this communique, resolution, yeah, something like that. Resolution to establish East Asian economic, East Asian group, yes, community, sorry, East Asian community that includes ASEAN 10 plus 3, China, Japan, Korea plus 2, the down under, Australia and New Zealand. This ASEAN, through ASEAN as the driver to establish to establish AEC, ASEAN Economic Community. So you see, your topic is not that very small as you presented. So I'm discussing here ASEAN. I'm discussing here the formation of ASEAN Economic Community under ASEAN. Let me repeat again. Not ASEAN. Asian. Asian Economic Community. Just like Europe, they have before EU there was EEC, European Economic Community. EEC, European Economic Community, that goes developed under the integration, the stages that I mentioned until today, EU. So under the ASEAN 10 countries as a driver wanted to get together with this 3 plus 3 plus 2 to establish, don't say ASEAN, ASEAN is the 10, Asia, okay, in Malay, Asian Economic Community, which not really doesn't happen really, because so many countries, all these EPPE, RCEP, and so on, but in a way getting together every year, this 10 plus 3, 13 plus 2, 15 countries getting together is already similar to Asian Economic Community, but not really, because there's no power in it. However, if you read carefully the ASEAN meeting, they have a certain target. So let's wait for the target. I don't want you to know when, and we're not to that level for this course. No. But it's nice to know. Okay. 2:30. Malaysia, India. Yes.
Anyway.
Do you have any questions for now? I've been talking. I don't know whether you are getting what I'm elaborating here. So please ask me question. Trans-Pacific. RCEP. Down there, RCEP. India.
Question please.
Ongoing. Malaysia European Union, Malaysia EU, ongoing. Malaysia IFTA, yes, this is in Europe. There was a European few countries here. As different from EU. EU 20 some countries. Trade remedies. What is trade remedies? If some country found, if a country complained to WTO, then another country is dumping product. What is dumping? Selling products below cost or below price, domestic price. They're selling to this country. You can complain to WTO, and WTO will do investigation, and they will do that's what we call trade remedies. I'm teaching international economics, another course that I'm teaching, so that's why I can explain a lot on this topic. That international economics got a lot of graphs, the theories and so on. World Economic Forum, this is just forum. Commonwealth, bilateral issues, engagements. Yes, this is what I was talking about, ASEAN economic integration. Now, at the second stage only, after, which is free trade. After the first preferential arrangement, the second one is free trade agreements. After, not even the third one yet, which is customs union. Not yet. There's a long way for ASEAN countries. Yes, question please.
So during the FTTA agreement, the FTTA discussion, what is the concern of our opposition at that time? Why the opposition opposed FTTA?
There was not really opposition from the the group opposition party. No, it was still under discussion in the parliament that they discussed really what happened when there is this free trade agreement. You can imagine one thing already, when there's free trade, reduction of tariff. What happened to the small companies, SMEs? They will have to compete with the global companies. So these are the main concern about trade openings through free trade agreements. Companies, whether they are ready for this competition. What does it mean, competition? When free trade agreement, tariffs go down. The product from outside can come in easily. Customers wherever in the world. Price is the most important thing. If you say loyalty to the country, no, I will not buy a product from other country because I'm loyal to this country. No. I think not many people would, because we don't care really. We are always buy for good quality product at a cheaper price. Doesn't matter from where. So this is going to be huge competition. SMEs will face that competition, and that's SMEs. We're talking about labor impacts as well. When these local companies cannot compete with imports, they cannot export. They have to cut on production unless they can bring up the quality, and that will
retrench
of labor and so on. So impacts on the labor and the supply chain as well. So these are the things was discussed, debated rather in the parliament. But I don't really want to use the word opposition from the opposition party. They was really debating. There's no not really opposition. It's just debating because basically
I think,
okay, my personal opinion. For Malaysia, we all agree. For Malaysians, the Malaysians all agree that for a small open economy like Malaysia want to be in, not out of any trade agreements, especially regional trading agreement. So you must make a difference between regional and bilateral. Yes, bilateral, there's a different calculation altogether because you're talking about with another country. So the different debates between bilateral. When DPPA is a regional, not bilateral, regional, Malaysia is better off to be inside, not outside, because the nature of Malaysian economy, small open economy. So that's why I refrain from your words opposition from the political parties. No, it was still the debate, and I don't see any problem for Malaysia to ratify all these agreements. Yeah, my answer. What is your comment back on my answer? I'm also waiting for another question. What is your response to my answer?
I remember during that time that there was an issue, or maybe from both parties, opposition and government, that they are opposing the agreement. They call it a TOPA punya agreement, isn't it? The PPA.
Yeah. Not really. I don't think so. They were debating because in Malaysia we don't see like people going onto the street to oppose TTPA or whatever. And also in the parliament they were just debating to make sure Malaysia will benefit from all this. And I'm confident Malaysia would soon ratify whatever it is. Because of the nature of Malaysia, better to be in, not to be left out. That goes across the board, whether the ruling party or opposition party. In the end, it's gonna be ratified. It's gonna win in the parliament. Other questions? This ACRF. There's so many things to read here. But reading all this, you must tie together with our major theme of discourse. Discourse is about transformation of the Malaysian economy. We know the main transformation is that from agriculture to manufacturing and to services. And still, services is number one in terms of GDP contribution. But manufacturing is the biggest contribution for exports, not service for Malaysia. Production of GDP, yes, service. But when it comes to trade, not service. It is manufacturing. So that's why manufacturing is very, very important for Malaysia, still until today. And now, how to integrate all together? The agriculture products as well will be manufactured in Malaysia, get the value added, and will supply for the need of the Malaysian people as well as to export, agriculture products related to the products from agriculture, while maintaining the food sufficiency level in Malaysia. That's the thing. So now we want that's an integrated kind of thing that the Malaysia needs to do. This EPPE is an example of the voluntary second type voluntary, okay, non-binding. Asia Pacific. That began in 1993. EPPE. Malaysia host few. When was it? Malaysia was the host. Second time. EPPE. Malaysia host in 2020. The first one. Malaysia is founding member of EPPE since regional forum was established in 1989. I said 1993, no, 1989. And 2020 was a year historic significance for Malaysia as proud host of meeting for the second time, 2020. After 22 years, and was held second time. Of course, 1989 was not the year Malaysia was the host. I forgot which year. If I go to this Golden Palace Hotel of Golden Palace, Horses Golden Palace, Seri Kembangan, Bukit. We could see pictures in the lawn of that hotel of Golden Palace. Pictures of leaders of these EPPE countries. Dr. Mahathir at that time. Malaysia was the host. They're there in that hotel. This happened during Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin as Prime Minister. Muhyiddin Yassin hosted the EPPE. That was 2020. Yeah, that was him. This is him. Putrajaya Vision 222. What is that vision? Our vision is an open, dynamic, resilient and peaceful Asia-Pacific community by 2040 for the prosperity of people and future generation. He was the host. Let's go quickly. EPPE. Okay. What about EPPE? There are two things mainly: trade facilitation and investment facilitation. These are the two things under EPPE: trade and investment, plus the intellectual property rights, IPR. To help countries, all these countries. Why it is important to hold on to have a good IPR, implementing IPR policy, intellectual property rights. Why important? It is important for innovation.
For example, innovation.
What is innovation? If I invent something, though there's no incentive for me to invent something. If I invent something today, tomorrow people copy. What is copy? Photostat. Oh, copy. Meaning that country does not implement a strong intellectual property rights regulations. What is regulation? I invent something, I patent it. Patent. That patent holds. Anyone who copy my idea, my products, can be punished by law. That's good IPR policy. So, good IPR policy is very important for innovation to occur. Because I will not do innovation. Penat-penat fikir, buat produk, invent something, people copy. What is copy? You can buy Rolex in Sri Petaling Street. You can buy all this product tiruan, counterfeited goods. It means that intellectual property rights regulation is not strong enough. It will not help innovation in the country and investment as well. People with that know-how technology will not come here to Malaysia to invest and invent something in R&D. If they know Malaysia is not really strong in protecting intellectual property rights. That's why IPR is included into the EPPE, including services, trade in services, just similar to WTO, but they are non-binding. They are truly for facilitation, to facilitate. When we talk about facilitation, involves here capacity building. That's a nice word that I heard from 1980s already. Capacity building. What is capacity building? To build capacity, you give training for the people, to implement things. Meetings, webinar. Webinar is capacity building as well. Business pitching. These are the latest recipe. So you must cover this recipe. What's recipe? Already. Regional comprehensive economic partnership recipe. Of course, in recipe, no. So this ASEAN, look at this. No USA. But there's China. No USA. But there's China. That's why USA opposes. USA does not like this. When there is China, USA does not like it. That's why Biden is now proposing the one that I mentioned, Indo-Pacific Economic Cooperation Framework, which will include India plus all these countries, not all, selected countries plus United States, of course, Australia, New Zealand, of course Singapore, but no China. That's the Biden's Indo-Pacific, but with India, Indo-Pacific. The word Indo comes from India, Pacific, all this Pacific Ocean. Biden's Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which is not let me see here. Is it here? This is still RCEP. Yeah, RCEP. This America, okay, regional, SEM outlook. Lucas policy again, second round. Lucas policy after 40 years. That's it. Done.
250.
250. So any questions?
We are basically done.
We are basically done today for this topic. Go back. Stop sharing. So, any questions? We have 9 or 8 minutes left. Let's take a picture for because you have not taken pictures for the past 3 classes. Please unmute your camera. After that I'm gonna display the attendance.